Hey YouTube, how's it going? I wanted to make a video to show you how to get into shape. Maybe you're out there and you've always said, I want to get into shape, but I'm not sure how to get started. This video is going to be great for you. I'm going to start this video off by showing you two pictures of myself. First picture is from 2006, so I was about 14 or 15 years old. The next picture is from 2015. I was about 22 years old. I'm not showing you these pictures to show you how great I am or to pat myself on the back. I'm just showing you what can be achieved by following the principles that I'm going to give you in this video. How I went from a skinny kid in high school to a slightly less skinny kid now. If you're making the commitment to get started and to get into shape, I'm going to tell you something that I wish I knew when I first started lifting. I want you to take a picture of yourself, I want you to weigh yourself, and I want you to write down the date. And keep this in a place that you're always going to remember. That way, a few months from now, or maybe even a few years from now, you can look back at the picture and the weight and the date, and you can say, this was the day I started. The first step to achieving your fitness goal is to determine what your goal is. In this video, I'll be discussing two different scenarios. First scenario is someone who's overweight and is trying to lose fat. Second scenario is someone who's trying to gain weight and put on some muscle. Once you've determined your fitness goal, we next have to determine how many calories you need to eat. The best way to determine how many calories you should eat is to just track everything that you eat and just see what your weight does. So for example, log the calories you eat for a week. Every single day weigh yourself. And then based on how much your weight changes, you'll determine how many calories you need to eat to maintain your weight. Obviously, that's pretty involved. There are some other simple ways you can figure out how many calories you need to eat, such as you can go online and find a calculator, enter in some information, and it'll spit out a number for you. Another very easy way to determine how many calories you should eat, at least just to start, is to take your body weight and you can multiply it by 13 if you're a naturally overweight person, or you can multiply it by 17 if you're a naturally skinnier person. Depending on if you fall in the middle in between those, you can go with 14, 15, or 16. That's just a very basic guideline. The next step is to assess your fitness goal in relation to how many calories you need to eat. If you're a naturally overweight person and you're trying to lose weight, you have to eat less calories than the calculation gave you. If you're trying to gain weight and add on some muscle, then you need to eat more calories than the number gave you. This is going to be a scientific process. So you have to weigh yourself and you have to track how many calories you're eating to determine, am I losing weight? Am I gaining weight? And where am I in relation to my fitness goal? So how much weight should you lose if you're trying to lose weight? How much weight should you gain if you're trying to gain weight? This can be very specific to individuals, so this is just going to be another general recommendation here. I would say if you're trying to lose weight, you would probably want to lose between 2 and 5 pounds a week at most, depending again on how overweight you are. The more overweight you are, the faster you can probably lose weight. However, if you're only trying to lose 10 or 15 pounds, you probably want to be on the lower end of that spectrum. If you're trying to gain weight and add muscle, realistically, you can only put on so much muscle at a time. In the beginning, you'll be able to put on muscle a lot faster than if you've been training for a few years, but I still wouldn't recommend gaining more than 1 or 2 pounds a week at most. Eating calories is the most important factor in determining if you gain or lose weight. So that's thing number 1. Thing number 2 is how much protein, fat, and carbs to eat. Protein is a very important nutrient. It helps you build muscle mass, helps you maintain muscle mass if you're trying to lose weight, and it also helps you with muscle recovery. A general rule of thumb for how much protein you should eat: if you want to be a bodybuilder or you're someone who's very athletic, you want to eat between 1 and 1.5 times your weight in protein. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you want to eat around 150 grams of protein per day. If you're just looking to get in shape, you don't have to go that high in the protein, but I still would recommend trying to keep it around 1 times your body weight. Now let's talk about fats. Fats are a very misunderstood nutrient. Let's just say that. Okay, some people have the mindset where eating too many fats makes you fat, or eating too little fats helps you cut fat. It can get very confusing. I'm not going to dive into the specifics in this video. I'm just going to say that I recommend eating between 20 and 25% of your total calories from fat. Fats are important because they help regulate your hormones and they do a whole lot of other things for your body. So fats are something that you don't want to eat too little of. But fats are also something you don't want to eat too many of because they can lead to other risks such as heart disease, things of that nature. So the last nutrient we're going to be talking about is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are great. They're a good source of energy. They give you a boost when you're in the gym, when you're doing stuff, when you're being active. But as far as determining how many grams of carbohydrates you should eat, they're just kind of a filler. So in the beginning, we determined how many calories you should be eating, and then we just determined how much protein and how much fat you should be eating. So then when you subtract your total calories and you take away the proteins and the fats, whatever's left over, that's going to be how many grams of carbs you should take. Okay, so I'm going to give you a specific example. We're just going to call this person X. Person X weighs 200 pounds, So we're going to take 200 pounds multiplied by 15, and that's going to get us 3,000 calories this person needs to eat in a day to maintain their body weight. Next, we're going to take 1.25 and we're going to multiply it by their body weight, which will get us 250 grams of protein in a day. 250 grams of protein times by 4 calories per gram gets us to 1,000 calories of protein every single day. The next one we're going to calculate is their fats. We're going to estimate they should eat 25% of their calories from fat. So if you take 3,000 times by 25%, that gets you 750 calories. Divide 750 calories by 9, and that gets you about 83 grams of fat per day. This is getting pretty complicated, but you'll see the thought process, the way I'm calculating these. Trust me, this isn't any kind of complicated mathematics. This is like middle school math, so it's nothing too complex, and there's always calculators you can find online that'll calculate this stuff for you. Last is carbohydrates. So we said they can eat 3,000 calories in a day, and we subtract away 1,000 calories for protein, 750 calories for fats. That leaves us 1,250 calories that can come from carbohydrates, or about 313 grams of carbs. Here's something very important to note. As I mentioned earlier, the carbohydrates are just kind of the filler. So what does that mean? That means your fats and your proteins should generally stay exactly the same when you're losing weight or when you're gaining weight. I say generally because as your weight starts to shift, say you go up 10 or you lose 10 or 15, 20 pounds, you can start to adjust those numbers. But generally speaking, you're going to want to take away or add to your carbohydrates first before you start adjusting your proteins and your fats. Fats and proteins are more essential to the health and fitness lifestyle and to just living as a human being because you need fats. Carbohydrates, they're not essential. You can survive without carbohydrates. There's no reason to keep a minimum amount of carbohydrates in your diet. So now we're going to take person X and we're going to slice their calories by 500 calories per day. So that's going to take their calories down from 3,000 to 2,500 calories. Now why did I choose 500 calories? So if they had 500 less calories per day for 7 days, that would equal 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories equals 1 pound. So it's kind of a magic number. The opposite is true if you're trying to gain weight. So we could have added 500 calories to person X, and over 7 days, in a perfect world, they would gain 1 pound. So obviously we don't live in a perfect world. This isn't going to be super scientific. There's going to be a lot of trial and error involved. Your weight will fluctuate from water, from your metabolism fluctuating a little, from hormones and different things like that. So the most important thing is to just track your calories and don't worry about the day-to-day fluctuations. You want to see trends. The most important thing is to track trends. So you want to see on a weekly basis that your body weight is moving in the direction you want it to be moving versus not, obviously, because that would be bad. So I want to encourage you, if you're tracking your body weight and say you get started on this and you track your calories and you gain weight or you lose weight, whichever is the opposite of your goal, don't be discouraged. That's just normal part of the process. There's days where I gain weight or I lose weight and I know that I ate so many calories. It just happens sometimes. Like I said, it could just be water, it could be a bunch of different things. Don't let it discourage you. Just keep on working at it. And we're looking, again, for the trends. So you want to see over a week-to-week basis your body weight trending in the right direction. So since this is a trial and error process, when you first calculated the amount of calories you needed to eat and you either add or subtract just 500 calories as a general starting rule of thumb, you'll need to try and adjust those numbers over time. So the more you weigh yourself and the more you track your calories, the better you'll get at this process. Because it is a process. You're not going to be perfect in the beginning, and it's going to take a couple weeks before you start figuring out, okay, I need to eat more calories, or okay, I need to eat actually less calories. I know it's super boring or time consuming to track your calories, but it is what it is. It's the most effective way to do this. There are tons of great apps out there you can download for your phone. I'll give a plug for MyFitnessPal. It's the one I've been using for years. It's just really easy. It's got a barcode scanner, so you can just scan. You can save meals in there if you eat things on a regular basis. And you can also track your weight in there too. And then it gives you a nice graph so you can see if your weight's trending upwards or downwards. Next, I'm going to go into the types of protein, fats, and carbs that you can eat. I'm just going to list off some different types of food sources. So you want to pause your screen whenever they come up. Start off with proteins, then we'll go to fats, and then we'll finish with carbs. See you in a minute. Okay, so let's talk meal preparation. I'm not going to recommend you go out and buy Tupperware and start packaging all your meals Sunday before the week starts. What I will recommend is you at least be conscious of what you're eating throughout the week, especially if you're at work, and you don't have a lot of options, if you know you're at work and you like to go out a lot to eat, so you go to McDonald's or something like that, there's nothing wrong with that. I love McDonald's. But it's probably not going to be beneficial for you if you're trying to lose weight to go to McDonald's because there's so many calories in what you're eating. What I do is I just prepare a lunch beforehand. Preparing a lunch, not only can it be healthier, but it's also cheaper than going out. You'll save money and it'll help you get in shape. What more could you want? Okay, so that was a good introduction to nutrition. Now we're going to take a step away from nutrition and we're going to get into the fun stuff. We're going to talk about exercising, my favorite. So exercising is where there can be a little bit more of a divergence between your fitness goals if you want to gain weight and put on some muscle, or if you want to lose weight and burn some fat. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to add probably 10 to 15 minutes of cardio at least 4 times a week. If you haven't exercised before, just start small. Maybe start 2 or 3 days a week and you just walk for 10 or 15 minutes. Just from that alone, you will see significant improvement in your health. If you go from not walking at all to all of a sudden now you're burning a couple hundred calories a couple times a week, you're going to start losing weight fast. And then you combine that with the fact that you're eating less calories, you're going to start shredding real quick. On the other hand, if you're trying to gain weight, I'd recommend cutting out the cardio. If you don't want to cut it out completely, then at least cut it back. So no more than maybe 5 to 20 minutes of cardio a couple times a week at most. Okay, let's talk about structuring an exercise routine. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail here because there can be a lot to be said about what kind of exercise routine you have based on your own personal fitness goals and based on your previous experience with working out. But I'm just going to give a general recommendation for someone who's just, say, a fairly new beginner to working out. I'm going to recommend you work out 3 or 4 times a week. And I'll recommend that you do an upper body and a lower body day. So if you work out 4 days a week, that would be 2 days of upper body and 2 days of lower body. If you work out 3 days a week, you'll just rotate it. So you'll start lower body, lower body, and so on. So what are we looking for in these routines? So when I say upper body, you want to make sure you're working all of the muscles of your upper body. Same thing when I say lower body. You want to work all the muscles of your lower body. I know training legs is hard, and trust me, it's hard. But you have to do it. So don't skip leg day. Okay, so now we'll go into the specifics of the actual routines. So on the upper body day, I'm just going to give you a general example of what a routine would look like. Let's say you'll start with back exercises, and then from a back exercise, you'll work to a chest exercise. From a chest exercise, you'll work to a shoulder exercise, and then you'll go to your arms. And then you'll finish with your abs. That would be a typical day. So I'm going to give you an example of what an upper body day could look like. You could start off with the bench press for your chest, and then you can go into a lat pull down for your back. You can go to a dumbbell shoulder press for your shoulders. Then you could do a tricep rope push down for your triceps. You could do dumbbell hammer curls for your biceps, and then you could do some crunches for your abs. Okay, let's go to leg day. What would leg day be without squats? So of course I'm going to recommend you start off with squats. So we'll do 3 sets of 10 there. Then we'll go to some leg extensions for your quadriceps, the front part of your legs. Then you'll go to some seated hamstring curls or some laying hamstring curls for your hamstrings. And then you have to do standing calf raises for your calves. Those are really good. And then of course you have to do seated calf raises for the lower part of your calves. Okay, so that was my upper and lower body exercise routine for someone who wants to go to the gym. Well, what if you're someone who wants to work out at home? That's good. We can come up with an adapted routine that you can do at home. Now for this at-home routine, I hope that you can find a pair of dumbbells to use. That would be really beneficial. So I'm going to give you some exercises that do require dumbbells. But even if you don't have dumbbells, you can use books. You can use just about anything else as a substitute for weight. Just as long as you're doing something is the point. So we'll start off with push-ups for your chest, 3 sets of 10. Then we'll do 3 sets of 10 dumbbell rows. Then we'll do 3 sets of 10 shoulder press. And then we'll do 3 sets of 10 tricep kickbacks. And then we'll do 3 sets of 10 dumbbell curls. And we'll still finish off with 3 sets of 10 crunches for your abs. So that's upper body day. Lower body day at home is a little bit harder to train, but there are still a lot of different squat variations and other things you can do at home for your lower body. So we'll start with 4 sets of 10 with squats. And then we're going to follow it up with 4 sets of 10 jump squats. Really burn your thighs. We'll finish off with 3 sets of wall sits for at least 30 seconds each. Then we'll finish off with some standing calf raises. So I'm going to make you do 5 sets of 15 reps on these ones. There you go. That's a good adapted upper and lower body day that you can do right at home. Takes very little time and it would be very easy to do. Last thing I'm going to talk about is sleep. So sleep is an important role in any kind of exercise routine. It kind of goes without saying and it's kind of boring. Oh, yeah, obviously you need to sleep, but Especially if you're working out, you really need to sleep for recovery and for mental purposes, because if you're not sleeping, you're not going to feel like training. And if you're not sleeping, you're not going to be giving 100% in the gym. And that's what you really need to do with this routine. You need to give 100% in the gym. So let's run through this. So if your goal is to lose weight, you start tracking your calories, you start eating less calories, you weigh yourself, you start practicing this exercise routine, you start doing a little bit of cardio, you're going to be well on your way to making huge improvements in your weight. And you're going to start to look better and feel better. And before you know it, you're going to be in good shape. On the other hand, if you're trying to gain weight, you start tracking your calories, you start eating more calories, you start working out and pumping some iron, you're going to start to get some guns. This information I've given you applies whether you're a male, whether you're a female, whether you're young, whether you're old. Doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you start. Whether or not you apply all of these different things or you just start off small with a few of them, the most important thing, as I keep saying, is that you just start. Okay, that was a little bit longer of a video, and I know I threw a lot of information at you, but I hope that some of this information is helpful for somebody out there. If you have any fitness-related questions, please leave a comment down below, and I'd love to answer it for you. Thanks for watching.